What is going on, Team Tactile? Coming at you with another Switch review. I know sometimes these do really well, sometimes they don't do so well, but I just love looking at new Switches. So I have here another Chosfox Switch from Kinetic Labs, and these actually come in both a linear and a tactile version. So the greens are going to be your tactile, the pinks are going to be your linears. And I will say straight out of the box, they're not a super heavy tactile feel. I don't know if that even picks up. They're definitely, there's a little bit of a bump to them. They're a little quieter, which isn't really the end of the world. We've been doing a lot of kind of heavy, loud, clacky switches. So I think this is going to be a nice change to that. But really what had my curiosity on these is the light diffuser that they have there. Because otherwise they are, at least by the numbers, just kind of a standard tactile switch. But they have this little light diffuser that comes out of here. So, you know, a lot of times we're looking at switches, you're going to get like clear housings and things like that to help the RGB shine through. And this kind of has its own little kind of light spreader, which is removable, right? So if you like the switches and you don't like these little diffusers, you can totally get away without them. But part of my curiosity was actually checking these things out. So we're going to see what they sound like. But before we go do that, let's go ahead and pop one of these open. Even get that done. Oh, it did pop open pretty good for us here. So they are factory lubed. You know, we're kind of learning as we go. Factory lubing is usually just some sort of oil on them. So it's nothing too crazy. You do have gold spring in there. No two-stage, which I know we got kind of mixed reviews, and some people like them, some people hate them. Some people think they do something, some people don't. But normal spring in this one, nothing too crazy on the housing here. Overall, still a nice looking switch. Definitely not a ton of lube in there. So I think the biggest complaint I hear on the switches, especially with factory lube jobs, is whether it is consistent or not. And right now I'd say this one is very lightly lubed. There's definitely some on there. But yeah, not too much. Again, it's oil. It's not like a Krytox lube or anything like that. But there's all your pieces to it right there. If I can actually keep something in frame, that would be fantastic. And snaps right back together. All right, so there you have it. Again, like the novelty of this is, and I think there's other switches out there with these like diffuser type things on it. So it's not like this is, oh my God, the newest thing ever necessarily, but it is cool. And I think maybe this even like style of it's a little different. I do like that they're removable. So if you like the switches, but you don't like that, you can definitely pop them out. And I also like that they're a little bit of a lighter switch, right? Like I'm going to start playing some games here in a bit, so might prefer to have a little bit of a lighter tactile switch. All right, so just looking at the stats, and again, this is the main reason why I saw these. One, I really like the Voyagers, so I figure, you know, it's always better to try out more than one product from someone who's making something you like, see if it's consistent, or maybe they did one unicorn thing really well. But also, you know, this little light diffuser here, and they're a little lighter as far as the press and actuation goes. So it's a 55 gram actuation. It's a 67 gram bottom out on the tactiles. If you do go with the linears, they're a little lighter, which kind of makes sense for a linear switch. But even for me, like I still play games with tactile switches, and I think a lighter switch like this is going to be a little better for me potentially, because I have the Voyagers in the keyboard right now, but those are a pretty clicky, very, you know, aggressively bumped switch. And I think this will be a little different on that. So let's pop these into a keyboard and see what we think about them. All right, so real quick before I pop these new ones in, outside of obviously sound, so these are the Voyagers, but actually the switch in here doesn't matter. It's the fact that it has a clear top housing. So I want to just do a quick, here's what the RGB looks like coming through this. Might be a little hard to see, but you know, you can clearly see kind of the LED bulb right in there. So keep that in mind. We're going to pop in these new switches and see how that diffuser actually works. All right, cool. So got all these switches in right here. And again, just like on the last one, I want to see what these kind of diffuser things are going to do. So we're gonna plug it in and okay. So I'm actually very happy to say that they do make a world of difference. It was pretty intense. Like you could really see the kind of like sole spot on just the plastic or the clear housings on like the Voyagers. These really spread that light out a lot more. I know the camera does some weird things to it, but like honestly, this is way more pleasing to look at as it is now. Obviously, this isn't how you're going to use your keyboard, so let me go ahead, pop some keycaps on, take a look at it that way. All right, got keycaps in. Let's go ahead and see what this diffuser does with that. And I probably don't have the right keycaps for it, so less impressive with keycaps on, but definitely a good option for RGB, but maybe not a requirement. And now, what I will say is these actually sound really good, so let's go ahead and do a quick sound test. All right. So yeah, those are the Hanami or Honami. Again, different on the package versus on the website, but not a big deal. So they sound really good. They went in super easy. They're constructed really well. They're very lightly factory lubed. So if that's a thing for you, you might want to, possibly do your own lube job. I love the sound. My biggest complaint is on the unstabilized larger keys. They're not as great. The keys themselves sound really good. Actually, now that I have it together, like I can really feel that tactile bump, so it's definitely there. Again, not as aggressive of a tactile switch, but still a good switch regardless. So would definitely recommend checking them out if you want a kind of entry level tactile switch. And by entry level, I just mean that the bump isn't super aggressive. So for the price, which I think comes in at around $56 on Kinetic Labs, you can grab 110 of them, which is a great price. So really no complaints here. As a tactile switch, wouldn't be top of my list as a favorite. As an RGB compatible switch, those diffusers definitely are awesome, so it bumps them up. And for sound, they're actually really, really nice. And with that, I'm going to leave it here. I'll put all the links in the description below. I'm actually really happy to announce that we at least have an affiliate code with Kinetic Labs. So if you like the switches, I'll put a link into that, and you guys can help support everything that I'm doing. Even this desk mat that I got here came from them. So again, I'll put my affiliate code in the description below. Use it, don't use it, I don't care. It's just awesome that people may help support me make keyboards a tax write-off, which is really what we're all after. So with that, thanks for hanging out through another video, and I will see you all in the next one.